deciding on the electrical setup for your condo garages, several factors must be considered. Firstly, cost is a significant factor. Separate circuits require running electrical lines from each unit to its garage stall, which can be costly. Common service eliminates the need for separate circuits, potentially saving on installation costs. Secondly, equity and fairness is also a significant consideration. Separate circuits ensure that each unit only pays for the electricity it consumes. Common service could lead to inequity if one tenant uses significantly more electricity than others. Thirdly, convenience must also be considered. Separate circuits allow tenants to control the electricity used in their garages. Common service requires a pooled billing arrangement, which may add complexity. Fourthly, zoning and regulations must be considered. Check local zoning laws and building codes to determine if separate service connections are allowed. Fifthly, maintenance and repairs must be considered. For separate circuits, repairs and maintenance are the responsibility of individual unit owners. For a common service, the condo association would be responsible for maintenance and repairs. Several possible solutions exist. One solution involves separate circuits with controlled access. Install separate circuits but provide each tenant with a lockable access panel to their garage stall. This allows them to control their electricity usage while preventing unauthorized use by others. Another solution is a common service with usage monitoring. Establish a common service but install electrical meters in each garage stall to track individual usage. The bills can then be divided accordingly. Another solution is a common service with predetermined billing. Set up a common service with a predetermined billing arrangement based on the average usage of similar garages. This simplifies billing but may not be entirely fair. To approach the issue, firstly, communicate with tenants. Discuss the options with tenants and gather their input. Secondly, consider a hybrid approach. Explore a combination of solutions, such as separate circuits for essential lighting and appliances and a common service for other uses. Thirdly, establish clear rules and policies. Create written rules and regulations regarding electricity usage in garages to ensure clarity and fairness. Enforce the rules, regularly monitor electricity usage and enforce the established policies to prevent inequity. When considering the electrical setup for your condo garages, the first important factor is cost. Installing separate electrical circuits for each garage involves running individual lines from each condo unit, which can be an expensive undertaking. On the other hand, opting for a common electrical service eliminates the need for these separate circuits, potentially offering significant savings on initial installation expenses. Equity and fairness represent a second critical aspect to carefully evaluate. With separate circuits, each condo unit is responsible only for the electricity they personally consume in their garage, promoting a sense of fairness and accountability. However, a common service arrangement could potentially lead to inequities, particularly if one tenant's electricity usage far exceeds that of others, resulting in an imbalance in shared costs. Convenience forms a third essential factor to take into account when deciding on the optimal electrical solution. Separate circuits empower tenants with direct control over their garage electricity usage, allowing them to manage their power consumption according to their specific needs. In contrast, a common service arrangement necessitates a pooled billing system, which may introduce complexities and require careful coordination among all tenants. Local zoning laws and building codes constitute a fourth crucial factor that must be thoroughly investigated. Before proceeding with any electrical installation, it's imperative to verify whether local regulations permit separate service connections for individual garages or if a common service is the only permissible option. Maintenance and repair responsibilities comprise a fifth key consideration. With separate circuits, each condo unit owner assumes responsibility for the upkeep and repair of their individual electrical systems within their garage. Conversely, under a common service arrangement, the condo association typically bears the responsibility for all maintenance and repair work related to the shared electrical infrastructure. To address the challenges and opportunities presented by these various factors, several potential solutions can be explored. One approach involves implementing separate circuits with controlled access. In this scenario, individual circuits are installed for each garage, but each tenant is provided with a lockable access panel to their respective stall. This system grants tenants control over their electricity usage while simultaneously preventing unauthorized access and usage by others. Another solution entails establishing a common service with usage monitoring. Under this arrangement, a shared electrical service is established, but individual electrical meters are installed in each garage stall to accurately track electricity consumption. Bills are then divided among tenants based on their actual usage, promoting fairness and accountability. A third option involves implementing a common service with predetermined billing. This approach entails setting up a common electrical service and establishing a predetermined billing arrangement based on the average electricity usage of comparable garages. While this method simplifies billing procedures, it may not be entirely fair to all tenants due to variations in individual usage patterns. To effectively navigate these complex issues and arrive at the most suitable solution, a collaborative approach is essential. Firstly, open communication with tenants is crucial. Engage in discussions with all tenants to thoroughly explain the various options available and actively solicit their input and feedback. Secondly, consider adopting a hybrid approach. Explore the possibility of combining different solutions to create a customized system that best meets the specific needs and preferences of the condo community. For example, separate circuits could be used for essential lighting and appliances, while a common service could be implemented for other uses. Thirdly, establish clear rules and policies. Develop comprehensive written rules and regulations governing electricity usage in the garages. These rules should be clearly communicated to all tenants to ensure transparency and fairness. Regularly monitor electricity usage and diligently enforce the established policies to prevent inequities and ensure compliance among all tenants. When contemplating the electrical configuration for your condominium garages, a multitude of elements warrant careful deliberation. Firstly, the financial implications stand out as a paramount concern. Opting for individual circuits entails the task of extending electrical conduits from each unit to its allocated garage bay, potentially resulting in substantial expenditure. Conversely, embracing a collective service model alleviates the necessity for distinct circuits, potentially yielding economies in setup expenses. Secondly, the ideals of impartiality and equity demand meticulous attention. Exclusive circuits assure that each occupant is solely accountable for their energy utilization. A communal system might give rise to disparities if specific individuals exhibit noticeably greater consumption than their counterparts. Thirdly, pragmatic considerations of user-friendliness merit thorough scrutiny. Autonomous circuits empower occupants to exert dominion over the power dispensed within their garages. A shared utility paradigm mandates a collective billing arrangement, likely introducing intricacies. Fourthly, zoning ordinances and regulatory statutes warrant scrupulous verification. Undertake a diligent assessment of local stipulations and construction protocols to ascertain whether separate service interfaces are sanctioned. Fifthly, the allocation of maintenance and repair duties merits an equivocal delineation. In circumstances involving individualized circuits, unit proprietors shoulder responsibility for upkeep and rectification. Under a unified infrastructure, the condominium association typically assumes governance. Numerous viable strategies manifest themselves. One such stratagem encompasses independent circuits equipped with regulated entry. Establish discrete circuits, yet bestow upon each occupant a lockable gateway to their respective garage accommodation. This empowers them to oversee their energy footprint while barring unauthorized exploitation. Another modality entails communal servicing complemented by metering capabilities. Deploy a shared utility provision while installing measurement apparatus within each garage precinct to meticulously monitor singular depletion. Subsequent billing allocations can be computed accordingly. A further avenue lies in collective maintenance buttressed by pre-established tariffs. Institute a mutualized arrangement wherein tariffs are pegged to anticipated expenditures derived from peer garages. Though simplified, such methodologies might lack comprehensive impartiality. To adeptly maneuver the complexities incumbent upon this endeavor, certain procedural guidelines merit adherence. Initiate communicative channels with occupants. Engage in dialogue encompassing extant alternatives and solicit candid feedback. Contemplate a hybridized architecture. Investigate the amalgamation of solutions, potentially allocating distinct circuits for fundamental services such as lighting whilst pooling resources for peripheral demands. Formulate unambiguous regulatory frameworks. Engrave directives governing energy utilization within garage environments to cultivate transparency. Consistently monitor efficacy and enforce established ordinances to preempt inequities. Consider the practical applications of electricity within the garage environment. For example, power outlets for charging electric vehicles, lighting for security and visibility, and tools used for vehicle maintenance. Each of these has differing electrical needs that must be accounted for in the design and implementation of the chosen system. Electric vehicle charging, in particular, can have a significant impact on electricity consumption. Level 2 chargers, which are common for home use, can draw a considerable amount of power over extended periods. This needs to be factored into the overall load calculation for either the separate or common service options. If a common service is chosen, consider the potential for future adoption of electric vehicles by more residents and ensure that the system has enough capacity to accommodate increased demand. Furthermore, the type of wiring and electrical panel used should be appropriate for the expected load. This is especially important for electric vehicle charging, which requires dedicated circuits and sufficient amperage capacity. Consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that the electrical system meets all safety codes and regulations and is capable of handling the anticipated load. Safety should be a top priority in any electrical installation. Ensure that all wiring is properly grounded and that all circuits are protected by circuit breakers or fuses. Install ground fault circuit interrupters (GFCI) outlets in areas where water may be present, such as near sinks or hose bibs. Regularly inspect the electrical system for any signs of damage or wear, such as frayed wires or cracked outlets. Promptly address any issues to prevent electrical hazards.